All right, hello, welcome to the virtual Cobalt Cafe. It is week number 278 of our series. So happy that y'all are here with us tonight to participate in the open reading as well as to hear our featured reader, Kevin Ridgeway, who I was lucky enough to see read in Long Beach a couple months ago, and glad to have you in this space, here in this space tonight, Kevin. You are going to be amazing. We're going to love your work. Before we get to you, we've got a little bit of our open reading to do. If you would like to participate in the open reading and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat. I will be happy to add you to the list. As always, it's two poems maximum in the open reading, and our suggested time limit is less is more. There you go. That's everything you need to know about the open reading. You should have the chat room open. The chat room is available for you to interact with each other since everyone is otherwise muted throughout the festivities. So you can use it to send each other messages. You can use it to react to what you hear people reading when it's their time in the open mic. And you can also post links of things. Say you mention something that you want people to click on. Well, by God, that's your opportunity to your place to post it in the chat, so that way people can hear what it is that you are, or click on whatever it is that you would like them to see. All right, what else can I tell you? We do have a one drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe. Make sure you honor that with, yes, very good, with any beverage that you so choose. There you go, long-standing Cobalt tradition. And I think that's it. Before we get to our first open reader, who, by the way, will be um, D. Ellen Hutchins. Dawn, you're going to be up first. Before we get to Dawn, I would like to ask if there are any questions. Martin Parker has a question. Okay, let me find the unmute button for you, Martin. There you go.
So you're having trouble with the muttons too. They switched them up on me here on my phone. Good evening, Rick. I just let me know if this is too personal, but I was curious if you had a favorite stuffed animal as a child.
I did. I had a teddy bear that my mom got me at a department store. His name was Chubby. I liked him a lot. And I had him all the way from when I was in elementary school in Syracuse, New York, or DeWitt, actually. What happened? Well, at some point, I got a girlfriend later on in life, and just loaned her my bear as one is one to, and well, I haven't seen either of them in like 30 years. So there you go. I don't know what happened to Chubby.
My partner borrowed my bear, but I borrowed him back for this particular show. So
Very good. Okay, good. Glad you've got your
my owl, I should say. Sorry.
yeah, sure, your teddy owl. All right, Martin, very good. Any other questions before we get going? Oh, good. Kevin's got a bear. Fantastic. Ed, yes, what's your question?
Oh, thank you. My question is, what is your favorite type of candy?
I'm a big fan of chocolate. Does that count?
Yeah, gotta love chocolate.
I love the sing-songy, fantastic reaction to that, Ed. There you go. Okay, good. Good question. Any other questions before we get going? This is the official question and answer period, something that we've had ever since the Cobalt was a real live in-person venue. You'll just feel lucky that we didn't continue the group poem from that time. That was a weekly disaster. Okay, no other questions. We're going to get right to our open reading. Then on deck, our second reader will be Martin Parker. Please welcome our first reader, D. Ellen. Hi, D. Ellen.
Hi. All right. So you were talking earlier about these fabulous places in the world you wanted to go, and they were inspired by movies or TV shows that most people here aren't old enough to remember. So we'll see how many of you remember this one. It's about this town that I live in now, which I hate horribly and don't recommend it to anybody. And the main highway that goes through this town is called Happy Trails Highway. So I don't know how many of you will remember the whole Happy Trails song and the characters in that show, but that's the kind of stuff I grew up on. And this poem is titled On the Not So Happy Trail. This tumbleweed town used to be home to Roy Rogers, Dale Evans, their horse Trigger, and their dog Bullet, all cast as heroes in Wild West adventures, which the kids of my generation watched on black and white televisions while riding stick horses into cowboy dreams. Today, kids play war games in 3D virtual reality, and Apple Valley's dirt and dust have settled into beige retirement homes, crowded together for the elderly with one foot in the grave. Roy and Dale have been relegated to street names, exits off the 15 freeway in a town which is no longer a destination, but a place the world passes by at 90 miles per hour on its way to Las Vegas. Like the cowboy lifestyle, the orchards died off long ago, mostly due to the cost of irrigation, while a bigger than life replica of the Palomino rears its hooves above a medical center slash strip mall, and the sun sets on the sad lives of those abandoned in the brutal desert. And the second piece is one of those short forms. I know Carrie was talking about, I'm thinking she's doing Cathabella's little group with haikus. She also does some other short form poetries, and this one is a charita, which is a 1-2-3 or 3-2-1 format. It's very short. And actually, Rick, you were my inspiration for this. Okay. The furrows on his brow, excuse me, the furrows on his brow tell a life story, something left behind, silent as tree rings. Thank you.
They are pretty quiet, those tree rings.
They are indeed.
They seem to make a fuss or shout out. So cool. Well, what an honor to be an inspiration for a piece, and as well as to just have you participating in tonight's festivities. Thanks for being here, Deellen.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, round of applause for Deellen Hutchins. On deck, Ed Potastic. Please welcome now Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. Thanks to everyone for being here tonight. Looking forward to the feature. And if my phone will behave here, I've got a holiday poem. I read one last week, but this is my other one. Not sure I have any more than the two. I think you've heard it before, but I'm going to do it again for the holiday this year. This is called Stocking Stuffers. My father had a habit of getting carried away with stuffing the stockings for Christmas Day with pens and tape and scissors and glue and oranges, nuts, a stuffed animal or two. So one year, my younger sister and I decided to stuff some stockings on the sly and add for Mom a mouse neon blue. And Dad's we topped with a monkey, quite cute. He named it Banana. Until he died, it stayed on the headboard or TV beside. And now my sister and I take turns at hosting Banana before he returns. And Banana wanted to jump by and say hi. He's here now. So thank you so much. I'll put my usual links in the chat and remind everybody that Improvs in Black and White, ghosting on me here, is an anthology with my artwork on the cover and a poem of mine inside. It's available through Poetry Global Network, and then we will soon be announcing 2 three new collections coming out within the next week or two. So I'll put all those links in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone.
Fantastic. Well done, Martin. Holiday greetings to Banana as well. Thanks for being here. There he is. All right. Round of applause for Martin Parker with special friend guest. On deck, Jeff Betker. Please welcome now Ed Potastic. Hello, Ed.
Hello. Thank you, our wonderful host they love the most, that goes coast to coast. All right. Happy holidays from me to you. Hope you're red and green and not blue. Never forget someone loves you, especially me too. Here's one big Yahoo! Hello, my name is Ed Potato. I'm feeling fantastic. Please, it's time to join my rhyme. Five plus sublime. I got two pieces. I won't take too much time. The first piece is called Price Tag. Be yourself, not a bookshelf. I can't. I'm not an ant. I think I can in this barren land. We see the same trend now and over again. People want Gucci bags, then carelessly brag. People want new Nikes, then say life sucks and bites. People want a crazy sign, then knowledge kicks their behind. People want a Tesla, then they want something extra. People want Louis Vuittons, but ask, does this have gluten? People want Calvin Klein, then say they're in a financial bind. People want BMWs, but whine feeling blue. People want clothes like celebrities, yet fueling these laboring factories. We're living with clones, with hearts as stones. I'm saying, please, 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 don't fall for this disease. You are a true blue original. You have hidden potential. Don't think like the crowd. Instead, make your own sounds. Thank you. My other one is called Not Everyone at Christmas. By Phil Soar. Not everyone looks forward to this time of year. Not everyone feels happiness or Yuletide cheer. Not everyone shares feelings but requires some care. Not everyone can smile when there's no purpose there. Not everyone wants you to call on Christmas Day. Not everyone has presents they can give away. Not everyone has sympathy for those who fall. Not everyone will welcome you if you should call. Not everyone will feel the way that they once felt. Not everyone will hear the words that make hearts melt. Not everyone will have a loved one by their side. Not everyone will have a smile that's open wide. Not everyone will share the words they once expressed. Not every sound will fill a room with happiness. Not everyone piece of wisdom shared or gifts exchanged will help to ease the pain of loved ones that remain. So spare a thought for everyone less fortunate than you, not everyone smiling, and not every dream comes true. Now, not thinking now of others when life is very bright, or won't help them through the time of year or help them sleep tonight. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Ed, to you as well. Thank you for filling this room with happiness. Great pieces tonight. Glad you were here. Looking forward to more from you in the future. A round of applause for Ed Potastic. Two more readers than our featured reader, Kevin Ridgeway. Christopher Bogart, you are on deck. Please welcome now Jeff Betker. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, everybody. It's been a long time. Happy to see you all again. Happy holidays. Had some tragedy in my family, and which just generated a bunch of sad poems that I didn't really feel like sharing. So, kind of gotten back to the point where I can make something a little more happy. Reminded of a time my family went to Lake Tahoe for the first time, and of all the fun things that was available to do, it was funny that the funnest thing was we came out of a restaurant. My children started throwing snowballs at each other, and the neighbor's dog came. And as the snowball would go up, the dog would jump up and try to bite it. And my kids had the funnest time ever just playing with that dog. So this is called Snowed In, INN. The owner of the inn knocked and said, I have some bad news and some good news. The bad news is it snowed heavily last night. All roads are closed. No one can pass through. The good news is today the sun shines bright. You may stay here gratis another night. A few phone calls later, scheduled, rearranged, an extra day of vacation, needed relaxation. Breakfast eaten, scarves and coats secured, ready to explore the surrounding woods. Rabbit tracks, bird tracks, deer tracks, freshly made in geometric patterns, the sound of tree branches crackling as the ice snow weighs down upon their limbs, the smell of pine and a burning fireplace, the air filled with nature's sublime fragrance. Snowballs toss playfully as a neighbor's dog joins in. Our nose is cold. We return to the inn. The good news, another day of winter's glory. The bad news, today there is no bad news. Thank you again. Happy holidays, y'all.
Thank you, Jeff. It is really nice to see you again. I'm sorry that difficult times took you from us. I'm glad you're back. I hope that you continue to get through them as you want to. And we're always here for you, even to hear the sad poems. So keep that in mind. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Round of applause for Jeff Betker. On deck, our featured reader, Kevin Ridgeway. Please welcome Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, Rick. I have a humorous Christmas poem, and then I'll read you a one about something that happened this Sunday, actually. First, humorous poem. It's called "The 12 Days of Christmas," a Christmas sonnet, or "What the Hell." 12 Christmas gifts. Whatever could they be? Oh, look, a partridge sitting in a tree. Since French hens and turtle doves are hardly heard, do calling birds yell yoo-hoo or yo-yo bird? Do swimming swans know they must compete with all the other birds, including geese? Are maids of milking working as a team, with ladies dancing, turning milk to cream? Pipers surely keep the ladies dancing, but 11? I'm sure just one would keep them prancing. I know the leaping lords just want to romp, but do they really need the cast of Stump? So rather than pay for maintenance on all these things, I think I'll stick with just 5 golden rings. And the second one is in light of the fact that Sunday, I imagine most of you heard that there was supposed to be something on 60 Minutes that never made it on 60 Minutes. But thanks to the Canadians, we got a chance to see it, whether they wanted us to see it or not. And it was about the 268 Venezuelans that got sent last year or the beginning of the year to CCOT down in El Salvador. This is called Frog Walk, and it's basically about that incident. Darkness shrouds cowardly kidnap, head shaved, hair no longer theirs, wrists cuffed, hands laced behind backs, arms bare, blue ink drowned in sea of black. Fright, wet with sweat, hangs threatened, chilled night air. Pungent smell, ammonia, in warm trickles, trails terror, down shivering brown flesh-soaked sneakers in troubled dreams. Marching lockstep, frog walked, face forced down, tarmac a black asphalt, last view of home that seems no longer to care. No due process, no proof of perpetration, condemned forever to seek out hell. Their captors yell, keep walking. I want to add one more thing that on starting in January, a few of us are going to be that participated in Silence's Consent, the anthology of 83 poets that came out a few months ago, are also going to be doing readings on one Wednesday night a month. and they're going to be called Breaking the Silence. And anybody from the book is allowed to feature, and anybody in the world is allowed to read at the open mic. We encourage participation, and hopefully we'll get a second anthology out of it. Thank you.
Christopher, thank you so much. Nice to be here with you. Both pieces were great. The funny piece, the important piece. Sounds like a really great reading series you're putting together, which will continue the good work that you've been doing since you conceived Silence is Consent. And may you continue to be able to do that until it's no longer necessary. So thank you so much. Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. On deck after our featured reader is Carrie Cox. That leads us now to our featured reader, Kevin Ridgeway. As I mentioned when we started the event tonight, I was reading in Long Beach a couple of months ago, and Kevin participated in the open mic and clearly knew what he was doing, had me completely engaged and engrossed with his work, and immediately put him in my note of get this guy to read at Cobalt. And so here we are with it actually happening. It's the strength of a poem or two, which I'm finding over and over is something that moves me to invite people to be here. Many of you know, I read the daily poem emails from poets.org, from Rattle, from other sources, and getting to see someone read in person and being moved by their work is also a great way to just expose myself, yourselves to the work to great work from great poets. Kevin Ridgeway is one of those people. He's the author of a few books of poems, including Too Young to Know, Invasion of the Shadow People, and Death of the Coppertone Girl. I was so sad no one told me about that. I would have sent flowers. His work has appeared. His work's been in a bunch of cool places: Chiron Review, Heavy Feather Review, New York Quarterly, Gargoyle, Slipstream, and other places. He's a Pushcart and Best of the Net nominee, and lives in Long Beach, which is one of those places in LA which makes you feel like you're no longer in LA. So
Yes.
cool. Kevin, I'm so glad you're here. Everyone, please welcome our featured reader, Kevin Ridgeway.
Thank you so much, Rick, for inviting me to read. I'm going to read the poem that got you to bring me here. It's called Not Cool. Bob Dylan at 40, not cool. Gray hair, not cool. Wrinkles, not cool. A tattoo that was something entirely different before sagging skin took it over, not cool. High blood pressure, not cool. Erectile dysfunction, not cool. Partial dentures, not cool. Full arch support, not cool. Conversations about A1C levels, not cool. Low metabolism, not cool. People calling me sir, not cool. Poems about middle age, not cool. Being able to school youngsters when and where appropriate to my obvious satisfaction, not cool. This poem, not cool. Okay. Here's another new poem of mine. It's called The 1994 Northridge Earthquake. Mom woke me up, her screams in brutal harmony with the roar from the earth. I was asleep on the floor, which seemed to be surfing the waves of a Pacific we thought our California had fallen into. but the ground stopped trembling like my hands do every single morning when it's a clear line to my life being mostly all my fault. Every last fear of it stirs me awake on solemn days when I remember everyone who's left me alone here inside the disaster they are now free from, and how I'm glad they remembered to teach me how to swim. This poem is called Way Out West. Old toothless Wesley, the delusional spaceman who claims to have lived 5,000 lives, born out of more than one womb, hatched out of more than one egg, the secret to the primordial ooze. And he even played tambourine in Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, a southern twang to his voice when he tells me he can shed his skin at will and look like a whole different person with a new skin underneath. He sits next to me in the waiting room of my psychiatrist's office, complaining to me that his sides hurt because they installed an electronic panel inside of his rib cage after they drained his brainstem of blood, replacing it with a chocolate syrup he claims makes him irresistible to the ladies at his board and care, where his only complaint is over the bed bugs who crawl up his nostrils at night, going on quests deep inside his body while he sleeps. But he's made the most of it, has even given the bedbugs names, like Weasel and Curly. I see him wandering the streets, running in search of a portal through space and time, with bionic, superhuman, kung fu moves he claims Evel Knievel taught him, flying himself over to Europe without the help of an airplane, because that's where they have more advanced life preservation technology. It hurts his butthole, he tells me, but he insists it's worth it. Okay. This poem is simply called Dork. No matter how hard I try to maintain the flimsy ruse, I'm one of the cool kids, snot is always there to drip out of my nose whenever I'm in a room full of bona fide hip cats. The Kleenex I use to blow my nose always manages to get stuck to the bottom of my shoe, my hands trembling until my drink spills while I clock in at 100 misspoken words per minute. Tipsy, obnoxious flirtations with other people's dates make for awkward men's room consequences, and I sober up enough to mill around outside circles of people engaged in sophisticated conversation. Me too afraid to speak again, aloof and up against a wall in wistful observation of people who have claimed their lives. I stand there, too afraid to live, but not too afraid to kill the party. Okay. I have a brand new book out. As Rick mentioned, I have a couple of books, but my newest book is Death of the Coppertone Girl. Sad to report that to you, Rick. I guess I could start with that poem. If I could find it. 26. The Death of the Coppertone Girl. The billboard stood above Interstate 5, and it featured a pretty cartoon girl with her bikini bottoms tugged down in a mechanical tug of war with a cartoon dog, which showed off the tan line of her pale derriere. She lost one of her legs during a storm that left the dog decapitated. They both stood there until the bitter end, when they disappeared and the sign turned into a large ad that read, "Shop at Walmart." And I grieved the loss of the first woman I fell in love with and could not save. I'll read What's in a Name? Perhaps my missing teeth give me a speech impediment, but people assure me that it's not an issue, and they can hear me clearly, which leaves me wondering why the cashier at Wendy's, who took my overpriced double cheeseburger order, got my name so horribly wrong. I study it there on the receipt as it laughs, blemished in awkward embarrassment, for not spelling out Kevin, but cabin instead. This happens to lots of people, as I've seen from time to time, but what kind of a name is Cabin? I can understand maybe Corbin, as in the actor Corbin Burnson. Is he dead? Okay, maybe I digress. Friends suggest Cabin might make a good nickname for me, or better yet, a fictional persona, a la Hank Chinaski or Kilgore Trout. Cabin Weaver, a poor lost soul who could barely afford the lamp-warmed beef sandwich he chews on, while high schoolers laugh amongst themselves, making old Cabin believe they're all in on the joke. Birth given to a new pariah for strange and twisted times, regardless of what you call him. Maybe I'll read 2 or 3 more poems. This is another book I just put out recently. I put it out myself on my own press, Dark Heart Press. And I did it with a great poet. He's from Missouri. His name is John Dorsey. I'll read a poem from that. Aging for Beginners. My barber shaves my forehead with a straight razor. I never ask him why the 5 o'clock shadow of the frontal lobe is sprouting. Maybe all the drugs I used to do finally transformed me into a mutant. A reason I would prefer over growing old with the warped imagination of a child dragged kicking and screaming. This time not to a dentist's office, but to death's office, which I hear hurts a lot more than a pair of pliers in the mouth or a mistaken razor slice to the flesh. But old ladies tell me pain is beauty. So I suck it up and I don't say a word. Yeah, I'll do 2 more poems. 2 more. Yeah. Poem for Latchkey Children. At nightfall, before Mom got home from work, I wouldn't turn on any of the lamps. Our television played old movies to light the living room while I plopped down into a beanbag chair on the floor, duct taped in 5 different places. Turner Classic Movies and overdue library books kept me company when the rest of the living world failed me. On dark noir screens, without parents, where I felt safer than I ever did, a warm place lit by celluloid dreams. I grew up, my mother retired, and then she died. That's when they locked us out of the house we used to lock ourselves in, after we had no choice but to sell it. I looked in the window I used to look out of. The room empty, because we took everything in there that we could and sold the rest. So find a place to lock yourself in while you can. Lost in reels of old movies and classic texts until you find yourself out here with the rest of the world, when you no longer have a choice but to unlock your fear and face it. One more poem. I want to thank Rick again, and I want to thank everyone else that has read and that I'm going to hear again more tonight. Great honor. Thank you. I'm going to dedicate this poem to my ex-wife. It's called The Night Pee Wee Herman Died. I was in the town he was born in the night his big adventure ended. Peekskill, New York, riding the North Hudson train from the city. I contacted my ex-wife, who I experienced the first wave of childhood nostalgia with, in an old VHS copy of his holiday special. Everyone from Grace Jones to the Del Rubio triplets were in it, and Miss Yvonne too. He was our misfit juvenile hero, brought to life by the laughing miracle of human improvisation. I told her I hoped she was all right, and that I was glad she was able to have the beautiful children she had always wanted, to enjoy her eternal playhouse. And I'd always be with large Marge here in the basement of my Alamo. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you. Great set of poems. So much fun. Oddly cool for your introductory piece. I'm really sorry to hear about the copper tone girl, and that you had to break that news to me.
Okay.
Cabin Ridgeway.
Cabin Ridgeway. Yeah. That's my new nickname.
Well, it's good to have a familiar yet different name just to go by, just in case. That's probably a good one you can put on the hotel ledgers if you need to.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I think we found ourselves lost in your poems tonight, which was a good place to be. Really enjoyed the set. Really appreciate that you're here tonight, bringing us a bit into your world and getting to hear those stories and those words and see those images. So really nice job. I'm going to paste some stuff in the chat. There it is, and I'm going to share the screen to show the broadside I made for the poem. Not cool. There it is. Folks can download this now at the Cobalt Poets website, poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt. Click on broadsides, or just click on the link there in the chat and should take you right there. It's an 11 by 17 print you can download and have, and or just look at on your screen. If you get pulled over by the police, you could just show it to them. Whatever you find this useful to do, you should do so. This is how we compensate our featured poets. We make these broadsides for them and hope that you'll consider supporting them by dropping some coin in the virtual hat, which gets passed. In this case, the virtual hat is the Venmo ID, Kevin's Venmo, so that's pasted in the chat as well. You can also consider picking up one of his books, which is a fantastic way to support a poet. There's links to Death of the Coppertone Girl there, both at Amazon and bookshop.org. You can check out, though if you go to Amazon and look for Kevin, you'll find all of his books there. So you definitely should check that out and start building your Kevin Ridgeway library today, ladies and gentlemen. So all
Thank
right,
you.
Kevin, thank you again.
Thank you, Rick.
Really great set.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. Merry Christmas to you. I see you're in the spirit and ready to go there.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Thank you.
Round of applause, everyone, for Kevin Ridgway. So next couple weeks before we get to the rest of tonight's open reading, no reading next week. Taking the week off for holiday sanity, for family happiness, that kind of thing. And then we will be back in 2 weeks with our featured poet, who will be Jasmine Vallejo Love, who's also a poet who I came across at a local reading, local meaning Southern California, which is big, which means it still could have been 2 hours away, but so Jasmine Vallejo Love will be here in 2 weeks on Tuesday, January 6th, which means that our open reading, the rest of tonight's open reading, is all we got for 2025. Glad you guys are here. Here's who I have on the list in this order: Carrie Cox, Melody Anderson Bermudez, Michael G. Hickey, Mary Jennings, Jennifer Elise Wang, Julian Matthews, Dig Wayne, and me. If anyone else is here who would like to read, let me know. If anyone is watching on YouTube, feel free to join the Zoom and read a poem if you would like. Friendly reminder, 2 poems, maximum less is more is the suggested time limit. Melody, you are on deck. Please welcome now Carrie Cox. Hi, Carrie.
Hi Rick, hi everyone. Happy almost holidays. I have 2 poems tonight. They're both new. The first one, I just named it like 30 seconds ago. I'm not good with titles, so it's called Butcher Paper. Butcher Paper. I'm not takeout ready, perfume heady, slightly unsteady when I tread these wet streets full of life's saddest confetti. I'm gunning for 5th gear, getting the hell out of here. I can't be pretty, contorted in fear. Can't get warm on days frozen clear. You're a sword I keep swallowing. The hunger you can hear and the growling inside me. The ratcheted sneer, machine-like and quick. The spiral of an ear. Because sometimes skin's job is to steer. Am I vesseled hollow? A lived-through mirage of bone marrow and sorrow. I was able to fable each arrow you taught my trajectory to follow. Now sad as sable, tame as a table, no manners or rules on how long to allow a widow to wallow in grief fertile and fallow. Did you have a choice in who to allow to come out when the curtains close for one final bow? If we came for the tussle, we got lost in the shuffle. A one less reason to make our moans muffled, a double dueling deck of jacks kicking up a kerfuffle, a new way of finding water, crossed copper and wires in hands of your oldest daughter, ghosts in the well now, singing of slaughter. That's my first poem. And then I have one more. It's brand new. It might be a song. It's called Signs of Life. Sign of Life. Sign of Life. Rustling in the dustbin, I've been searching for the wind, for a song that has never been sung, that I don't even know how to begin. I've been rustling in the wind. I've been standing by the sea. I've been looking for a lighthouse that's been looking out for me. I'm a monster in my mind. I'm a leviathan of the depths. Someday when you find me down there with all the secrets that I've kept, you'll know it wasn't my fault. All those siren sick sailors and their shipwrecks, all the hemispheres that got left hexed by water gods and sky gods and sun gods and whatever gods come next. Steering by the stars again as clouds part their misted dreaming. A hero's only welcome comes ages from the leaving. Currents jet stream our passages uneven, where time waits for no heathen and doldrums idle hands, like a demon dreaming of thieving, a mutiny not of money, a trick not of treason. The deck swabbing dangers of salt rubbed into skin, the anchor no match for the swells that sneak in. We fish for the rains, set sail, and learn to swim. I carry you around my neck, albatross soft like ashes, protecting the dead's need to fly off. I've seen the edge of the world dropped off into Bermudian triangles shrouded in hopes, heavier than cloth. Remembrance, a ritual, forgiveness, the balm, torture the tempest till the teacups grow calm. Turning in the tidal, total ride inside the tunneled yodel of seashell spiral sins I go to riptide ripe to steal what she sells by a seashore left unfathomed, kidnapped in kelp forests unransomed. In a holy dervish dying sandstorm, curb the call of the hell-bent yet handsome. I'm teeth in a mouth with no way to chant or hum the seeds of these words, and hands ready to plant some. They'll pretend to build me a boat for this water. My arms are their own kind of oars, my soul too full of treasure to float, buried down like a firstborn daughter, buried down where the driest dust learns to drown, bullying wind shape-shifting these oceans. I'm beaconing better now, a pulse to be found. Thank you.
Harry, thank you. Also looking very festive tonight.
I have jingle bells too.
I had no doubt that you had jingle bells there. Looking good in the foreground and in the background. And thank you so much for being here. Well done. Carrie Cox, everyone. On deck, Michael G. Hickey. Please welcome now Melody Anderson Bermudez. Hello, Melody.
Hi there. Well, that was a very powerful set there, Harry. Appreciate it. Anyway, my poem is called "The Cat Children." Are you looking for the yellow house at the bottom of the hill? The yellow house with gray shutters. The yellow house with gray shutters and a white garage door. Are you looking for the yellow house at the bottom of the hill, Sandhurst Hill? The yellow house at the bottom of the hill, Sandhurst Hill, across from Coyote Gulch. Are you looking for the yellow house at the bottom of the hill? The yellow house, the house? Yes, the house. The one that is always dressed for the occasion, whatever the occasion may be. I know which house you speak of, and I know why. I know that in every day and in every way, people are always looking for the yellow house at the bottom of the hill. The house across from Sandhurst Hill. There alone, people are looking for the yellow house at the bottom of the hill. The yellow house, the yellow house, the yellow house at the bottom of the hill, Sandhurst Hill. The yellow house across from Coyote Gulch. Coyote Gulch, where the coyotes play. Be careful, because the coyotes can follow you down and then up the hill, Sandhurst Hill. Be careful, because while the coyotes mean you no harm, the coyotes can scare you. The coyotes mean you no harm, but the coyotes can scare you just by being russet-colored coyotes. Coyotes that look much like an oversized dog with no collar, and yes, their own way of being coyotes. That's all. Carol and Carl live in the yellow house at the bottom of the hill, across from Coyote Gulch, where the coyotes play. Many a person, many a dog walker has walked by the yellow house with gray shutters and a big white garage door. The yellow house is always dressed for an occasion like Christmas, where the yellow house has a wreath above the front door, Christmas lights hanging across the front of the house, Christmas angels hanging below the Christmas lights across the front of the yellow house, all dressed up for Christmas, which is just about a week away. Carol and Carl greet everyone, no matter who, with a smile and a tale do tell. Behind their smiles, Carol and Carl keep the tale of Santa's Drive, the hill for which their yellow house sits at the bottom. The tale begins with their house being the first house built across from the farmer's land, Bordoni's, old man Bordoni. When they moved in, there were several head of cattle, cows, but only 12, the poet who lived. When we moved in, just 12, the poet added. Children, children, no children, Carol said, not looking a bit childless or distraught at the question. We have cats. I mean cats. Carl joined in, sharing how a dozen and a half or more cats, and from time to time kittens head this way at 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. dinner time. Carol rang a big bell that the farmer, old man Bordoni, gave them when they shared the tale of the yellow house with him. We feed a dozen or more cats, all named and fixed after we captured them. 6 or more who joined us indoor cats. No children, perhaps, but these dozen or more cats. We call them outdoor cats, Carl and Carol said together, never once saying feral, a term people use with derision. A dozen outdoor cats and 6 indoor cats, they said, rattling off each cat's name in unison. I hope you don't mind, they said, as if I'd have some opinion on it. And to my surprise, I did, for a number of reasons, but one being that my cat, Meow Meow, my calico cat, Meow Meow, started as an outdoor cat, a kitten, until my daughter trained her with treats and brought her home to us. And all along, she's been a wonderful friend. And however you can care for these wonderful animals, pets, friends, cats, indoor or outdoor, more power to you, Carol and Carl, and your children, your cat children, your absolutely wonderful family. So for Melody and Meow Meow, and to all, I watched as the cats gathered to eat dinner. For Melody and Meow Meow, Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night. That's it.
All the best poems have a dozen or more cats in them, Melody. Thank you very much for that. I'm gonna share that poem with my wife in kind of a legal move to see if we can get a few more cats in the house. I think it's good. It may work for that. Thank you very much for that poem. And for the coyote references. We have coyotes wandering around our neighborhood. It's always kind of very romantic to hear them start howling and doing their coyote thing. So cool. All right, Melody, thank you for being here.
Welcome. That's great. Thank you.
Round of applause for Melody Anderson Bermides. On deck, Mary Jennings. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Rick. Hi, everyone. Melody, I just got a call that the Cat Lady Committee called and you're in. Okay. I would like to share one poem. It's kind of a process, like a how-to poem, but to be honest with you, I really think of it more as a public service announcement, and I dedicate this to my brother in Alaska for reasons that will soon become obvious. This poem is called "How to Discuss Politics with Your Family Over the Holidays." Hey, congratulations! It's your year to host the family festivities. In less than 2 days, in-laws and outlaws from 4 states will descend upon your humble abode, led by grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and a conglomeration of clumsy kids intent on decapitating your entire bobblehead collection. Remember last year at Aunt Pam's? It always starts benign enough. Please pass the yams. Would you like more eggnog? But before long, It digresses into dumbass Democrats, repulsive Republicans, insinuations, insults. Someone calls the cops, and finally, you never loved me anyway. Sound familiar? Does your family's holiday tradition include heated debates over everything from QAnon to climate change, from the flat tax to the Flat Earth Society? If so, it's time to take matters into your own hands. Literally, it's time to hit yourself in the head with a hammer. Yes, you heard me right. Stay with me now. There's a very good reason for this. You see, with a good solid hammer percussion, the pain is essentially the same as those long, drawn-out political debates, but it's so much faster. One good knock on the noggin, and you'll be past the politics and engaged in the holiday merriment in no time. We both know the prolonged political pain is inevitable, so why not get it over with and have some real holiday fun? Do this the minute your brother-in-law from Alaska arrives, and get started on the 1969 moonshot conspiracy that it was really a trick done in a Hollywood sound studio to spook the Russians during the Cold War. Follow these simple steps to avoid that inebriated late-night fistfight and potential fatality. Step 1, prepare the area. Light the tip of a sage leaf and sweep the smoke liberally throughout the area to purify and decontaminate the family gathering place. Do this, do this both before and after the guest arrival. Remember to deactivate the smoke detector first. Native Americans have burned sage for centuries as part of a spiritual cleansing ritual to promote healing and wisdom. It's been used since the time of the ancient Egyptians and Romans to treat digestive issues, memory problems, and of course, drunk relatives who don't know when to shut the fuck up. Step 2, hammer selection. A craftsman is only as good as his tools. Be sure to find a suitable, a suitable hammer, not too big, not too small, and then just hit yourself in the head, pretty hard too. You want this spectacle to make a lasting impression. For obvious reasons, metal mallets, claw hammers, and jackhammers won't work. You don't want permanent brain damage. You just want to make a point. We recommend a 16-ounce framing hammer with a non-slip grip. And remember, don't hit anyone else, just yourself. You don't want to end up spending the night at the Gray Bar Hotel. Step 3, the percussion. In this final stage, be sure to target your forehead rather than your temple. This will ensure maximum visual effect for your soon-to-be horrified guests. It's important they witness this masochism in action in order to comprehend the lengths you're willing to go to avoid political banter. Then, with a banshee battle cry, let her rip. Yep, that's good, exactly. Do it right in front of them. A bruised forehead and a little blood spatter will get their attention, and rest assured, no matter the damage to your head, your sweet and tender heart has been spared this excruciating conversation altogether. Congratulations, my friend. You may have saved a life tonight, perhaps even your own. Heck, you may have even prevented the felling of the entire family tree. You are officially now an angel from heaven with a purple badge of courage on your forehead and a holiday hymn in your heart. Thank you.
I feel like the Hammer should sign up for the open mic and do its own piece because it was such a prominent part of what was happening. It got me wondering, like, do you just have a hammer there in general when you're doing Zooms just in case, or was that specifically brought to the festivities to augment this piece?
No, actually, I performed that piece on stage last Sunday at something called Drunken Owl Theater at this local bar, the Jules May Saloon, which is the oldest bar in Seattle, circa 1888, 23 years after the Civil War. And so, I don't know, I like to bring props on stage. So I thought, being a public service announcement, I might use it this evening as well. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. I don't think I can do better than what Bill said in the chat, which was, I'm emotionally ready for the sea shanty version of this poem. I don't know if you want to make sure that got on your radar, Michael, because maybe that's something you need to put together.
Duly
as well.
noted. Thank you, Bill.
All right, Michael, well done. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. I've got a few more people. If anyone wants to get added to the list, now's your last chance to do so. Jennifer, Elise, Wang, you are on deck. Please welcome now Mary Jennings. Hello, Mary.
Hello, Rick. And good evening, all. It's been a long while since I've been here, and I'm glad to be back. I'm going to read one poem, and it's called Rebuttal. You are meant to be life-affirming, not merely death-defying, although that served you well at times. The feats you survived, the rings of fire and the high-wire acts, amaze for a short while, but you ask, where is the love? Required to face your fears and get past them. When you ask for a hand, they only give you applause, just when you don't need it. You are not a circus act or a rodeo. Both have their clowns. That's not the job you applied for. Not obliged to bear the burden of their fears when all they can do is crow about how brave you are, and they are not. Talk is cheap, and it doesn't pay your performance fees. I do beg to differ. Survival has nothing against love. It's a lesson in discernment of who will fly with you and fall with you and lift you up as you lift them up, and who is there just for the pyrotechnics and to witness your daring do. You've done it all, and you've done without. It's time to say enough is enough. I'm not going through this with you again. Let us have each other's backs and each other's hands. It's not a clinging or neediness. It's a need to uphold self, worth, dignity, respect, joy, love. Living to love another day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. Living to love another day is a great way to go out on. I don't want you to go out. That's not what I'm saying here. Great last line for us to think about and go forward with. Let's say thank you so much for being here tonight. Round of applause for Mary Jennings.
Welcome.
On deck, Dig, Wayne, please welcome Jennifer, Elise, Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, I've got two. So the first one was inspired by our earlier discussion of stuffed animals. And it's a very quick 100-word nonfiction flash piece called The Bear in a Bow Tie. One day, I decided that all my stuffed animals needed names, and I would start alphabetically with my closest companion. This resolution came to mind while waiting for my parents to check out at the nursery. I saw Amy written in glittery red paint on a silver Christmas ornament and decided it was the perfect name for my little white bear. She had a red plaid bow tie that in later years made me wonder if that should have made her a boy. But I had already decided that girl bears could wear bow ties. I could wear one too if I wanted. And yeah, the bear lives at my parents' house, so I don't have her, but here's one of my other stuffed animals, the seal. My second piece, I can share screen because it's slightly a visual poem. Let me get that to work. It is called Broken Wings. I am broken, cast out, plummeting down until I strike the ground. Bitter grounds peppering the metallic taste of failure in my mouth. Now you will know the feeling of your own blade between your shoulders, they declared while tearing away my freedom, finally tossing me out like an unwanted doll. At least I am no longer their puppet, I think wryly, surveying what is left of me, a pierced heart closing up with hard tissue, a misshapen backbone that I crack into place, filthy feathers fallen all around me. Miraculously, there are a few white plumes still hanging on. Shaking fingers wrapped around a shaft, and I pull. One by one, I remove the reminders of my past self, ignoring the fresh crimson coating my fingertips, and I burn the discarded remains of my past self. covered in ash, and new me rises.
It does indeed. Jennifer, thank you for rising for us tonight, as always, for finding our theme and joining in with it as well. I think the sub theme here is stuffed animals that we've lost along the way. You're lucky you can just go back to your parents' house and visit at least. I have no idea where my teddy bear that I gave my ex-girlfriend back in the early 90s, maybe late 80s, I don't know, is. So if anyone knows Chubby, the bear, please let me know. I like him back. Jennifer, thanks for being here.
All right, thank you.
Round of applause for Jennifer Elise Wang. On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Dig Wayne. Hello, Dig.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. This first piece is mine. It's called Egads. 1. Surrealism has been hijacked by reality. 2. Dada is up for grabs. 3. Beat poetry is anybody's guess. 4. Art is fart missing a tooth. 5. Abstract lies in wait like a thorny, hangry beast under your bed. 6. Bullshitting a bullshitter identifies as hero worship. 7. Education has become an elective. 8. Common decency has become optional, like tipping over cows. 9. Outrage fatigue cures Viagra. 10. America of the medicated. Only 10. You might know this, Rick, but on the weekend there was a Bukowski reading at Beyond Baroque. It was pretty exciting. Everyone was reading Bukowski. I wanted to read this one, but there wasn't enough time. It's from this interesting book that someone gave me. It's a limited edition on the back, and he signed it on the inside with a little drawing of himself to William Packard. Someone gave it to me as a gift, so it's pretty special. Anyway, this poem is called Bad Times at the Third and Vermont Hotel. Alabama was a sneak and a thief, and he came to my room when I was drunk. Each time I got up, he shoved me back down. You prick, I told him. You know I can take you. He just shoved me over again. When I sober up, I said, I'm going to kick you all the way to hell. He just kept pushing me around. I finally caught him with a good one, right over the left temple, and he backed off and left. It was a couple days later. That's what it says. It was a couple of days later, I got even. I fucked his girl. Then I went down and knocked on his door. Well, Alabama, I fucked your woman, and now I'm going to kick you all the way to hell. The poor guy started crying. He just put his hands over his face and just cried. I stood there and watched him. I said, I'm sorry, Alabama. Then I left him there. I went back to my room. We were all alkies, and none of us had jobs. All we had were each other. Even then, my so-called woman was in some bar or somewhere. I hadn't seen her in a couple of days. I had a bottle of port left. I uncorked it and took it down to Alabama's room. I said, how about a drink, rebel? He looked up and stood up and went for 2 glasses. Thanks. Bukowski. Bow down, motherfucker. Bow down.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the Bukowski reading was happening after the fact. I think the flyer showed up on Facebook, and I saw that you were there at Beyond Baroque doing that. That looked like a really cool event. Glad you got to do that, and very cool of you to use some of your time tonight to read a Bukowski poem as well. Your list poem, your numbered poem was really funny as well.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you.
That's what I
It
got to
was nice
say.
down there. They'd moved the podium out and put a little table and a refrigerator, and it was full of beer. And people were like opening the refrigerator, getting beer out and popping them and reading their poetry, drinking beer. It was a nice little, homage.
That sounds like what he would have wanted.
Yeah, it was cool.
Does anyone know if Bukowski ever was at Beyond Baroque? Was that mentioned?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if he was. So many of the poems that were read were just burning, poetry readings. These sad poetry readings in Los Angeles, people sitting around reading bad poetry, listening to each other. It was so funny because everyone's kind of laughing and we're all sitting there. It's just like he's talking about us. It's really good.
Yeah.
Several people read poems like that. It was an eye opener.
Yeah, I wonder if for those of you who aren't familiar, Beyond Baroque is a place in Venice, California, here in Southern California. It's an actual used to be the city hall, I guess, or was it a firehouse? It used to be a firehouse, and or maybe both for that matter.
I think it was a city hall, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a literary arts center for decades now, like an actual facility that, a literary arts organization that has its own building and a little theater and a bookstore, and lots of people have come through it and read over the decades. So it's a special place. So cool. Dig, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks everybody for listening.
Round of applause for Dig, Wayne. All right, I'm going to read two poems to close out the open reading in the spirit of reading other people's work. I'd actually plan on reading a poem from this book that I picked up. It's Billy Collins' new book called Dog Show. It's all poems about dogs. I'm more of a cat person, but I'm really loving this book. I'm reading one poem a day, just so it kind of lasts, because it's only so often Billy Collins puts out a new book. This is one of them. It's called Dog with No Name. The night was clear and the moon was yellow are such good opening lines. I'm surprised others haven't used them. But that's the way it was that night when I noticed a medium-sized dog crossing my lawn, apparently on his way somewhere. I was alone for several reasons, so I tried to get him to come over by whistling and barking, then by guessing his name. I used some common ones like Butch, Scruffy, and Max before going exotic. Chaucer, Pencil, Pepin the Short. I yelled after him from the porch as he disappeared like a spirit without a home into a dark hedge. And that left me to wonder about his name and who he was and who I was, for that matter. Me in a blue half-buttoned shirt outside with a tumbler of whiskey and a moon that was just as yellow as it was before the dog. Which is when I realized that, like everyone else, I was many things, but now I was the man with cupped hands who called Stagger Lee, and there he suddenly was, trotting my way in the moonlight. Billy Collins from Dog Show. Each poem is accompanied by a painting of a dog. There's one. So, if you don't like poems, but you like paintings of dogs, that's a whole other reason to buy the book. And I'm going to close this reading with one of my poems. I wrote this one for this week's Torah portion, which in Hebrew is called Vayigash, and that word means, and he approached. The poem is called Final Approach. We're approaching something, but I don't know what. The apex of my patience, final approach into the Southland, an end or a beginning. Both could be bad or good. We're approaching our final destination, our freeway exit, no offense, highway people. Here comes our long-lost brother. Here come tax breaks for the rich. Here comes a new year. They come and go so quick. How many of these do we have left? I'm approaching that point in my life when final arrangements are so much closer than let's see what this is all about. Every photo of me looks like a slightly younger version of my 87-year-old father. To be fair, he doesn't look a day over 75. I hope he lives forever. I hope I live forever. We're approaching a science which may allow us to live forever. I'm going to need more clothes for that. I hope the interest rates hold steady. I hope they fix the temperature. We're approaching a point where I'll tell them I paid off my house 100 years ago. I know exactly what we're approaching. That's the whole poem. Thank you all very much for being here. Great open reading. Nice way to end out the new year. Special thanks to our featured reader, Kevin Ridgeway. I pasted the stuff that I pasted before in the chat. You can thank Kevin for his reading via a tipping via Venmo. There's his Venmo ID right there. You can download the broadside for his poem on the Cobalt Poets website at the next link that I pasted there on the Cobalt Poets website. If you're new here, please click on email list and feel free to add your email to our list, and you'll get the stuff that we send out every week, reminding people about the reading. Also on that website is a link to the calendar of upcoming events. No reading next week, as I already mentioned, taking the week off for the holiday. And then in 2 weeks, January 6th, we will be back with Jasmine Vallejo Love, as well as our open reading. That'll be our first reading of 2026. And other readings are scheduled, so my God, you can see them all there on that website. Finally, also pasted into the chat is the links again to Kevin's most recent book, Death of the Coppertone Girl. You should check it out. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone else, for being here. Hope everyone has a lovely holiday if you celebrate a Christmas or just enjoy the day off, and a Happy New Year as well. I'm going to click on the Ask All to Unmute button, so feel free to say hi to each other.
Hi to each other.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Rick, I don't know if you realize, but that last poem, it started out, when you started reading it, I thought that sounds like the lyrics to the song Stagger Lee, that old rhythm and blues song from the 50s. It was like the night, you said the night was something and the something was something, right? In the
The
beginning?
poem I read or the poem that
Yeah.
he...
The poem that you read.
Billy Collins' poem or my poem?
The Billy Collins poem.
Oh,
What was
I
the first line?
I didn't realize that, but that's...
The night was clear. What was the line?
It was the night was clear and the moon was yellow. Or such good opening lines.
That's how Stagger Lee starts. Those are the beginning words, of Stagger Lee. And then later on, and then in your poem, you say Stagger Lee. I thought, oh, so, that's the exact beginning line of that song.
Wow. Well,
Right?
I didn't know that song. I wasn't familiar with it. So I guess that's just Billy Collins going deep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great old, 50s Lloyd Price, Stagger Lee.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, listen to it. It's really cool. It tells a great story. These guys gambling, somebody pulled a 44 back in the days when people had 44s.
Good to see your smiling face again, Karen Scott.
Good to see you all too.
Yeah, Karen, there she is, Ohio, in the house.
Yeah. And tired.
Kevin, great job. I really enjoyed your set.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed hearing everyone tonight. And thank you. Have a good holiday, everyone.
You too.
Very good.